In this little thing, I'm gonna just show you guys how to sample a kick drum. We'll show you my own way of sampling kick drums and getting around some of the issues of other sounds bleeding over the top of your kick drums. So we're gonna sort of like split up a kick drum into its 3 different parts before we sample it, so that we can sort of exploit the way in which percussive sounds sort of decay away into different frequency bands. Usually you have like the low part is longer, the high part is shorter, and the mid part is halfway in between. So yeah, we're going to do it on, of course we're going to do it on a DJ Mustard track, but the cool thing about this is that you can really do it on absolutely anything. Even with loads and loads of stuff playing, you can get a pretty good kick drum sound when a guitar is also playing or a vocalist is hitting the downbeat of a chorus or whatever. So yeah, I guess the idea of like sampling kick drums is the first thing you do is like find the part where there's as little stuff going on at the same time as the kick drum as possible. In this case, we've got the kick drum just at the start. So yeah, I would just find like the drum breakdown where there's as little stuff going on as possible and just sample the kick. And so I'm just going to take this and just place it there. So I'll just show you like how good you could probably get this if you weren't using the aforementioned technique. So that's pretty good. Like that's a pretty nice kick drum, but it's got a bunch of like other stuff. You got a tone in there as well. So we're going to try splitting it up and then isolating the different parts. So I'm going to just have this as like, I'm going to put 3 different ones there, and we're just going to call this the original. I'm just going to call this the low, mid, and the high. Cool. I'm just going to turn this off. This is just kind of like a reference. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get the EQ3 and put that onto each of these tracks. And I'm going to just go to the low band and just turn off the mids and the highs. And maybe I'll just drop this down a little bit too, just so we're really just getting the kick drum. You also need to make sure that you are on flat response, otherwise you'll get weird sort of resonance increases. You still do get a bit of kind of volume increase. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but yeah, hey, it's okay. We're going to normalize it anyway afterwards, so it's not a big deal. The other thing that you want to make sure is that your fades are not on. Fades will like kill the transients essentially. Fades are implemented to kind of get rid of the clicks that occur when you edit and slice things up. So you can actually go into your prefs and turn it off there. It's somewhere hiding in here. Cool, so that's our low band. This is going to be our mid band. We need to set this crossover frequency again to 120 Hertz. So we're now listening to, in the mid, what's between 120 Hertz and 2.5K, which is that middle stuff. And then the highs is going to be just above 2.5K. You could get much more particular with like setting the crossovers here, and you probably would on a track-by-track basis. I wouldn't just stick to these numbers because the frequencies, depending on the track, will change dramatically. So now what we're going to do to get a bit more control is we're going to freeze and flatten these. So you go freeze and flatten. Essentially that just turns the audio with the effects just into audio and sort of writes the effect onto the audio track. So you can see there's no more effects on here. And you can see it's now changed it so we can now see the waveform, which is kind of useful. And we can also, most importantly, use fades and actually edit the sound. So for the low part, I might just kind of go like that. So we're still getting the kind of nice length of the kick, but we're getting rid of some of the later part, which has the bass. This one here, maybe we kind of just want this like punchy mid-range part of it. We don't necessarily want most of that melody, which is the main thing that's causing the tone in this. So yeah, we kind of just want this part perhaps, maybe a bit more just to be safe. I'll just split it. And then we're going to use fades just so we don't get a click, and we can kind of gradually fade this out. And then on the high part, we really don't need anything but the kind of the tick. So we just need a really short part of this. And I'm just going to use fades as well. Cool. All right. So this is the moment of truth. Hopefully this doesn't sound awful. Cool. We got a kick drum. And you really can't hear that much of the tone. Okay, let's go an A-B. It's pretty cool. So we can go now fades, and we can, I mean, I can really try and get this as close as possible, but you'll notice that if I really try and get out the later part of this kick, it's still gonna like, we're still gonna hear the tone in there. So that's like too short, obviously, and too gated. This is like, has a bit of length and also doesn't have that crap at the top. Cool, so what I would now do just to export this, I always sample loads of kick drums, I'm not afraid to admit it, is I'll now select the clip, hit export, render the track, master. I usually use this normalize, which essentially just like brings it up to the loudest possible volume. In this case, you could see on the master we're clipping. This will take care of any of the clipping, which will occur by just like turning everything down. Hit export and then sample this, save this into this folder. For example, mastered kick. You can see we've got it here. And then drag it in, and now we can kind of drag this, you know, if you work in MIDI or audio, you can now drag this onto an audio track. And we've got the sample, which is just the folder. Cool. So that's it, the mustard kick.